My name is Clint Baderis. This is my case study for AAP 858, Data Analysis. A little bit about the case and the case summary. Mr. Rhodes is in his first year as a principal at Golden Oak High School, and in a meeting with Dr. Newman, the superintendent, he's asked to investigate and improve the school's attendance records, as attendance at the school has been declining. The district is primary and middle class, but it also has students in poverty and upper class students. Typically, parents in the district cannot dedicate several hours outside of work to assist their children with schoolwork and extracurricular activities. Most of them drive back and forth to work, typically up to an hour. Last year, Golden Oak had the lowest percentage of student attendance among all high schools in the district. In his conversation with Dr. Newman, he outlined acceptable excuses for truancy and the rules the state and the school board have laid out to address these issues. First step Mr. Rhodes has taken is to evaluate a few cases of students who have high rates of absenteeism and find several different cases. Students missing school for educational experiences or religious reasons, another being excused from school due to athletics, another student whose parents did not feel it was important for him to be attending school regularly, and one who was married recently. Mr. Rhodes is now tasked with engaging the community stakeholders and developing a school culture that values attendance and understands the relationship between high academic achievement and attendance. Moving into Section 2, ethical and legal issues that we can see with this case. So Section 2, what ethical and legal issues does the case present? First of all, the legal issues that I can see. I do not feel anyone was harmed in this case study by the action of either Mr. Rhodes or Dr. Newman, but there is potential for pushback from teachers, coaches, parents, students, and the school board depending on what action will be taken. I feel it is a reasonable task for Dr. Newman to assign Mr. Rhodes, albeit a tough position for a first-year new administrator in this spot. Per state law, excused absences can only be allowed for illness, death in the immediate family, inclement weather, or a valid reason expressed by the principal or with prior approval. It appears several of Mr. Rhodes's evaluated have high absentee rates, accompanied by either excessive unexcused absence or excessive excused absences not falling in line with state law. The only ethical thing that I can really find in this is Mr. Rhodes has not been asked to do anything unethical. We don't have tons of information on the ethical side of this, and there may be some that comes up at a later point. All right, was there a breach of contract? I do not feel like there's been a breach of contract at this point, as no action has really been taken yet. Were the actions discriminatory or constitute harassment? No, not at this point. Mr. Rhodes has not had the opportunity to be harassed. Does the action or situation convene an existing law? No state laws are posted other than the attendance laws. Like I said, per state law, excused absences can only be allowed for illness, death in the immediate family, inclement weather, or valid reason excused by the principal. Section 3, what's going on, what's happening? Due to an increased level of absenteeism with Mr. Rhodes' new school, he has been tasked with gaining stakeholder support and improving attendance rates, which involves teachers taking accurate attendance and holding students accountable. Transitioning to Section 4, the facts. Here are the people involved: Mr. Rhodes, who is the new principal at the school, Dr. Newman, who is the superintendent, the athletic director, who is excusing students and athletes from class, the teachers who are not taking attendance properly, students who are missing class, the community, and the parents, which will hold these students accountable. The facts, place in which it occurs, type of community, location, and demographics. It occurs at Golden Oak High School, which serves 965 students in grades 9 through 12, which is a high school. Of the 965 students, 659 students have missed 10 days or more during the first semester. Most residents in the community are middle class. There's also upper class and some people living in poverty within the school. In recent years, the community has diversified, adding more Asian and Hispanic families. The school has a low turnover rate for teachers. Most of the teachers have been in the area for 10 years. And it typically only adds one or two more teachers per year. Students are offered several and multiple activities Football is a dominant sport within the district. Most parents in the district have a 1 to 2 hour commute to and from work, so they are unable to dedicate time for their children's after-school activities. Mr. Rhodes' investigation reveals that school personnel have applied school policies with district personal discretion in recent years. Some of the things that have come up: the athletic directors excuse players to miss class. Some of the established teachers do not routinely report students' absences. The school counselor has been absent in resolving issues regarding poor student achievement. Continuing the facts, the program includes the type of school, the curriculum, and the grade levels. Golden Oak High School serves 9 through 12, 965 students. Students are offered several extracurricular activities, including 11 team sports and 31 different clubs. Football is, again, the most dominant in the community. Moving on, transitioning to Section 5, review and prioritize the information. Could the conflict, the situation, or the decision be damaging to stakeholders within the community? Yes, absolutely. By not abiding by the state laws for truancy, the school and district could lose funding and jeopardize their accreditation. Stakeholders such as teachers could face repercussions for their lack of reporting absences or not following school board policies. And students and families could face legal consequences for not attending school regularly. What individuals and groups have an important stake in the outcome? The whole community really does here. Mr. Rhodes, Dr. Newman, the school board, the staff, parents, guardians, and students all have an important stake in this outcome. Have all the relevant stakeholders been consulted? No. Mr. Rhodes will need to address attendance issues with the staff and go through the state, district, and school policies regarding attendance. Mr. Rhodes will then need to address attendance policies with all stakeholders, which includes parents, families, the students as well. Continuing to review and prioritize the information. Can I learn more about the situation? Absolutely. There's much left to learn. We only looked at 5 kids. There's a lot more kids that we need to look at. Much more information and discussion is needed about what we can do to increase attendance. Do I know enough to make a decision? Yes, I know that I'll uphold the state, district, and school policies when asked to do so. Section 6, identify options and consequences. Option 1 is no action. Mr. Rhodes ignores Dr. Newman's request to improve attendance rates. He just lets things continue as is and stay status quo. Option 2 is the extreme action option. Mr. Rhodes immediately starts to take action to improve student attendance and attendance procedures. He reprimands all staff who neglect to follow state, district, and school policy as it pertains to unexcused and excused absences. Contacts each parent and guardian of every student who has missed more than 10 days in the semester. Parent and guardians would be given information on state, district, and school policy as it pertains to absences. Holds a school assembly to share the state, district, and school policy pertaining to absences. Follow all state, district, and school guidelines such as suspension, truancy, court, and detention. Moving on to option number 3, kind of a middle ground option. Mr. Rhodes addresses the entire staff on the state, district, and school policies, procedures, and expectations for turning in attendance upon returning from Christmas break. Teachers who are not following the protocol will be disciplined. Meet with teachers individually who are not following procedures to gain a better understanding of the issues, why they're not taking attendance. Establish a weekly attendance report, which can be easily reviewed and shared with staff. Send information to parents and guardians to establish policies that will be followed within the school. Have homeroom teachers address attendance guidelines and policies with the students, and consult and establish guidelines for handling attendance for each student. Be consistent and establish guidelines for each student. Option number 4 is another middle ground option. We need to address the staff on the state, district, and school policies, procedures, and expectations for turning in attendance at the next staff meeting. Provide documentation to parents, guardians over the state, district, school, and policies and procedures for absences via email and on the school website. Make an announcement to the school regarding attendance procedures and guidelines, and develop a shareable form for attendance records, which can be shared with staff. Pros and cons, evaluating the options. If we look at these actions, first of all, no action is taken. I can't think of any pros for allowing this to continue. Some cons are, if we don't do this, we could lose our job as the principal. Students and families are not held accountable for not showing up, and how are we preparing for the future if that is the case? Some outcomes: nothing changes, student attendance does not improve. Extreme action sets an example and holds everyone accountable is one of the pros. We could lose some quality teachers because they're not taking attendance, which is something pretty minuscule that we should be able to fix. Pushback from staff and students is another con. Outcomes, it's a rapid change that shows Dr. Newman that he's doing his job. We're making a change immediately, and we're gonna follow the rules. Middle ground 1 allows families and students to make changes, new procedures and standards. It allows us to slowly make a change. A little bit about the cons, little immediate change. We're going to see some change immediately, but not to the extent as the extreme action. And we could see some pushback from students because they don't want to come to school. Some of the outcomes, transition from the old to the new while still establishing a precedent for all to follow. Middle ground 2 is a little bit quicker fix. It addresses all the stakeholders, but not to the level that I would like to see. Cons, it's quick and shows lack of intent to follow through. Some of the outcomes, little to no change, but can show Dr. Newman that he tried. So that's one way to look at it. As we transition to Section 8, choose your best option. I believe that at this time, option 3 is the best option. After careful consideration and reflection, I believe that option 3 creates the best opportunity for our school and our students. All stakeholders are well informed of the changes and consequences that will follow if not followed. Teachers can help with the problem and create collaboration amongst our staff. It allows transition time for all involved, but also sets the standard for attendance rates. Allows all stakeholders the opportunity to collaborate and help solve the problem. Section 9, implementation. I believe that the first step is to meet with staff and discuss the policies that we've talked about. Establish procedures and consequences for not following procedures. Maybe an individual meeting first. It could include writing up each teacher when they do not continually report attendance issues. Step 2, contact parents and guardians with attendance policies through email and phone messages. Update the school website to reflect attendance policies so that everybody's aware of what's going on. Step 3, in homeroom, address attendance policies with all students. Step 4, collect and share attendance data with staff and collaborate to make additional changes if necessary. This is going to be something that we can continually work at and change in order to make this problem work for us. Some positive outcomes, attendance rates increase. Staff responds positively to new procedures. Parents and staff buy in. Student achievement rises because of attendance increase. Some of the negative outcomes that could have come from this: attendance does not change, must get courts and police involved. Some staff pushback that they don't want to take attendance. Parents and guardians respond negatively to our changes. Section 9, continued implementation. If the plan doesn't work, Plan B would. I'd reach out to Dr. Newman first, ask for ideas and input, ways that we can increase our attendance. I'd also look at the other schools around our area and within our district, talk to those principals and ask for input. I'd also allow teachers to improve, have some input so that we could collaborate and come up with ideas to fix the problem. Moving to Section 10, the standard. I really enjoyed the class. I think it's one of the most beneficial classes I've had in the program. Thanks for your time, and appreciate it.